how do you work with the development team and ensure effective communication and collaboration?
Yeah, this is a good question. It's one of those things that when I very first thought about the question, it's like the answer is kind of in the question is communicate.
Mhm.
At first, very first and foremost, you have to communicate. But I think it's also key between a product management team and a software engineering team to be as like candid with each other, but also to bring as much clarity to the why as possible. So I think as long as you can do that, you can have a really good communication line set up. But it's about building confidence in each other. For example, as a product manager, when I'm working with software engineers, I'm saying, hey, I need to help them understand why are they about to spend so much time on this? Why is it worth their time to spend this time on it? But also from the software engineering side, I found it really helpful to understand more of like what questions they may have that may go into, determining like things like the architecture of it or any technical risks that we have, being very open and candid about what's happening, and or what questions team members have is super important.
And do you find it's helpful when you're in this process and you're working with development teams and trying to figure out what's going to be required for a feature? Is it better to kind of have the big meetings where the whole team's in there and everyone's discussing things? Or do you like it where you just have a couple people from a team, maybe more senior people, and that way you can just be a smaller group?
Yeah, it's really hard to say because whether it's a lead or whether it's somebody that's not really in the lead position, anyone can provide insight. So I think it depends on like what you're trying to get at what stage. I think it's really important there in the beginning that you have to be conscious of people's time. And so if you have a developer that's already working on, say, for example, the sprint that they're working on, maybe bringing in the lead for like high level discussions is great at the start, but still bringing in the rest of the team as you get some of those high level decisions out to get the rest of the team's input, I think is really important because again, like lead or not, insights can come from any team member. So bringing them in sooner and I think at the appropriate times is really what's been the most helpful and the most helpful for them too, because of course they've got stuff to do. Meetings take all of our time. We all know that.
In fact, I just talked to a developer who was new the other day, and she's very excited because she was able to, like, in one of these meetings, bring something up because she was very nervous being around both the senior people and the product team. Have you heard anybody kind of like a newer developer say something and people snap back and be like, no, don't say that? Or is it usually pretty open and everybody wants input from all different sources?
Yeah, I have definitely, in my experience as a product manager, I've been in situations where somebody just says something to make just like really kill somebody's confidence in their question, And I think one of the important things, and this kind of goes to anybody in the room, like it doesn't have to be just a product manager or the person like leading a meeting, is like foster an environment where like innovation and bringing things up is encouraged. And I always say that at the start of any meeting I have. It's like, I'm about to ask you a bunch of really stupid questions, so you just as well do the same. Like, why not? This is only going to help us. And I think being able to do that and preface conversations like that is really important because literally anybody can have insights and there's no stupid question. And you just got to ask the question because most of the time when people are sitting there and they kind of have that like imposter syndrome and they think that their question is like not going to make any sense or they're going to phrase it wrong, like chances are it's a really good question and everyone's thinking it in the room and it needs to be asked.
So let me ask the counter side of that. Have you ever been in a room where, there's a bunch of people surrounding a table, maybe there's a PowerPoint up, and then somebody new asks a question and it's just the most ridiculous, dumb question you've ever heard. And you, as the director of this, have to sit there and try to say something professional instead of wanting to slap them in the face?
Yeah, well, I have been in a couple of situations like that. And usually if it's like on me, it's like that person's team lead, I'll usually take the brunt of it and just say, hey, like, hey, that's on me. Like, I can loop you in on that offline. Like, yeah, it's like sometimes you got to do that because you have to ask yourself, why is this person asking their question that they don't know? And chances are it may trace back up to their leader. So for me, I usually take it and I'm like, hey, guys, that's me. I probably should have communicated that and looped this person in.